Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining our latest NSPS Director Town Hall. Linda Foster here, your president, filling in for Tim Birch, who usually hosts these meetings. I'll give just a minute or so. We've got a number of people that are entering as we go here. So we'll let a few of those come in. I hope everybody's summer is going well. Okay. I see we have one hand up already. Mike Banta, you should be able to come off mute.
Yeah. I just had a question, Linda. Is there a way to see who all is participating on this, like a list of people? I never seem to be able to find that.
Oh, let's see here.
And I believe only the organizers can see that, the list of attendees.
Sure. Bear with me, checking settings here. Got a few more coming in.
And if not, it's okay. I was just curious.
Sure. Okay. Well, we're 102. I know we've got a number of people who've joined. I suspect we'll have a few more that jump on here, but to respect everyone's time, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to just put up a brief agenda here, and you all don't have to see me exclusively the whole time here. So let's go ahead and kick this off. Again, I appreciate everyone taking your time to join us for these town halls. I hope they're helpful for everyone. I greatly appreciate it. It's a good way, I think, for us to get information out there. And we had a brief agenda. These, of course, are informal, casual. If you have questions, please raise your hand, type them in the box. I think we have it set so you can come off of your mic and talk to us, which will be great. And so we'll go ahead and get started here. Overview of town hall content and communication, kind of an update for everyone on where we are at there. As you know, we've had several of these director town halls now. I think is this our third town hall together? I'm starting to lose track already. And we are also kicking off another town hall exclusively for our state executive directors. And that first town hall will be happening July 8th. So if your state's executive director has not gotten notified for some reason, or that communication hasn't come through, please do let us know so we can make sure all of those state executive directors are able to participate if they so choose. So we're excited to host that town hall. Content will be similar but slightly different from these town halls, more of how can we share content, how can we share information and things that we're doing at national so that it can be incorporated at your state affiliate levels. So again, we're trying some new things. There'll be some, I'm sure, some growing pains as we move through and figure out what works the best for everyone and what's the most valuable. So thank you for bearing with us as we do that. Next item on the agenda here is marketing updates. As highlighted in the Surveyors report newsletter, which I hope you're all receiving that. That's our kind of director specific newsletter that is separate from News and Views, comes out with kind of a digest of information for directors, as well as the links to join these town halls. Again, if you're experiencing any issues, if you're not receiving those things, please let us know and we can help try to troubleshoot. Again, check those email filters and different things. It's always difficult to know where those things get stuck sometimes. But I'll just go through a few things very briefly that, again, were in that newsletter. We're continuing to progress with our marketing updates with Elaine Ball. We're picking up some good traction, some good steam, a lot more visibility, as Tim mentioned last time, a lot more activity on social media and just getting our messaging out there and awareness of who we are and what we what we do as a National Surveyors Professional Society. A couple of new things that have been developed here recently that I'm really excited about is a new directors kind of packet. So hopefully that will help us with onboarding as we have new directors join from different states. There's a few, you know, we have turnover all of the time, and we're trying to be mindful that not everyone has been around and knows the ropes and those types of things. So it's something that provides links to pertinent materials on how the organization runs, bylaws, kind of how we are structured, those types of things. So Elaine and team have been working with Tim and Trish to get that put together, so that's exciting. And they've also put together a new member packet. So this will help for our affiliates as well to really communicate what is it that we do at NSPS, what are the benefits of being a member, just again helping heighten that communication and awareness of what's happening with our organization. Website updates have been ongoing and continue to kind of evolve, so check back on that. And another item to note is NSPS is in the early stages of planning a presence at GeoWeek 2026 in Denver. As many of you know, we attended in 25. It's a very active event, a high amount of participation, and we have a good opportunity to not only market NSPS, but also market your affiliates as well. And as you maybe noticed in that newsletter that was sent out from Elaine and team on the Surveyors report, there's an opportunity for your affiliates to create your own Get Kids Into Survey character and card to promote your state. That's something that we can also use to drive traffic back to your states. If people we meet with are interested in becoming members, we can drive them to you, who of course in turn then will bring them to us as members of our respective societies. So that's very exciting as well. Stay tuned, there'll be more details. We're just in the very early stages. I think they're just starting to open up for abstracts and those types of things currently. Any questions on marketing, communication, town hall, content, those types of things? Trying to watch for hands here. All right, I think we're okay. We'll just keep on going here. Next item to note is comes kind of underneath our government affairs committee and group. Recent recension of the FHWA US DOT rules for geodetic control. So this is something that very recently came to our attention. As many of you hopefully have seen our communication that's come out around this, the FHWA, the US DOT is proposing a number of rule recensions, some cleanup, regulatory cleanup and things, which did include one particular rule that stood out to us. And that is, it is a very dated rule, but I would say there are components of it that we were concerned needed to stay. And so, long story short, we got everybody together. We went through those rules. And Dick Kleiman, are you on the line at all? Okay, I see his hand up. I think you can go ahead and come off of mute, Dick, if you want to hop in here. But essentially, what we did is we went through the proposed rule recension. We looked at what's in there. Some of it is antiquated. There was really one particular piece that stood out to us as being of concern to be redacted in its totality, and that was losing that tie back to the NSRS, or the National Spatial Reference System. And so we worked diligently to get some comments put together there, and I'm going to see if I can, oh, Dick says he can't unmute, so let me see if I can work on this. Trish, maybe you can help me in the background here. All right, let's try that. Dick, can you talk to us now?
There we go. Thank you.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah,
So
no,
Dick,
go ahead, Linda.
yeah, if you want to just share, Dick has been helping us. I appointed him to a subcommittee under our standards committee to help with NSRS modernization, monitoring and rollout and resources and things like that. So we brought him in on this as well. I don't think any of our government affairs folks were able to join today. If you're on the line, feel free to chime in also. But Dick, I'll let you describe a little bit of the process also, since you were heavily involved in that as well.
Yeah, no, it's Linda and Tim brought this to our attention and got the stuff out there and turned it around and drafted a letter to what it was, the FHWA director, right, or administrator, voicing specific edits to the rule. Like Linda said, it was um, parts of it are good. I mean, to be efficient is a good thing, but then there was unintended consequences of that, and a lot of people felt it made tying DOT projects into the NSRS optional. So we wanted to make sure that that was clearly not the case. Linda, actually, yeah, you mentioned the deadline is June 30th for public comments. And one thing we could do is we weren't providing anybody with that link, the URL to the public comment where you could find that button. And you know how hard those are to find on the federal government level. So that might
I will
be an
pull,
ad out
I'll
there.
pull that up right now and see if I can share that in the chat.
And
I'll reshare my
there you
screen
go.
and show everyone where that is to provide those comments. So this is the Code of Federal Regulations, and Mike Van, I see your hand. I'll get to you next here. This is the site essentially that you go to that talks about this recension, those types of things. Actually, this is the one right here.
There you go.
Where
Yep.
this is what I want to bring your attention to, this green button, submit a public comment. This is where it will get lodged formally in the public record. As you can see, there's 4 comments that have been posted, and they're publicly viewable, so you can take a look at what those comments are currently. But that is, definitely get those comments lodged here. There are a couple of contacts that are also listed in this notice. If there's additional questions and the like, those are kind of down in this midsection. You can reach out directly either via telephone, email, etc. So I think with that, I'll pause. Let's see, Mike, you had your hand up, I think, first, and then we'll go to Jim.
Yeah, just getting back, Linda, I did find where you can see who is actually on the call. Up on the top right, you see
Super.
a button, looks like a face and a body. There's a number beside it, 30. If you click on that, it will give you, as you scroll down, it'll give you all the attendees on the conference call.
Super. Okay, great. All right, Jim?
Yeah, there you go. Number one, I don't see the face in the upper right corner. I don't know what he's talking about. But can you send this link address to us, please, for these comments so we get it?
Can you guys see that in the chat? I dropped it in, but I have my view is different than yours as a presenter, so I'm not sure if you're seeing.
It's there. You got to open up the chat.
Thank you. I didn't see that. Thanks.
Super. Excellent. All right.
And Linda, this is Dick again.
Yeah.
I guess you'll notice, yeah, I was surprised there were 3 comments before I dropped mine in there. And I think NSPS might want to also, I know we submitted a letter, but I think we should at least copy and paste a few bullet points in there. And if you open that up, you'll see I said that NSPS provided detailed edits and you should use them.
Yeah, we absolutely will, Dick. Thanks for bringing that up. I did want to wait until we all had a chance to, I knew we were gathering in this town hall, wanted to have an opportunity to just visit and see if there's any, conversation that came out of today's meeting before we post that, but we're planning to most definitely. We actually, as Dick alluded to, and you guys have probably seen in the draft documents, have proposed, another concern with this is really the Geospatial Data Act of 2018 really is dictating that federal agencies also, use the NSRS, the modernized NSRS. And so again, that's another weak point in all of this as well. But yeah, that's all outlined in the materials that we put together, and we'll certainly be submitting our comment. And I suspect there'll be probably a flurry of more comments that come in right before the deadline. I know there's other groups that are discussing it and talking about it out there as well.
And Linda, do we want to touch on like the directors should reach out to their specific state DOTs and make them aware of it and encourage them to weigh in on it? I literally had to like tell my DOT contact like, hey, I got a meeting, and he called like, what's this all about? You know, so I was explaining it. But be aware that with this short a time, you know, it's hard to get
Mhm.
one person to speak for a whole department, you know, if they're far down the food chain type thing.
Yeah,
So get
no,
what you can, and encourage them even to just do
yeah,
a personal one, if nothing else.
very good point. And I think we mentioned that in the correspondence that went out. I know we have a few folks, you may be on the call with us today, that have circulated out to their DOTs. So I thank you. I appreciate that. And with that, I see we have a couple of raised hands. Mike Vanta, I think you were first, and then Mike Given will go to you.
Right, so I did reach out. Well, first of all, back to Mr. Craddock's call. It's the icon right next to the chat box, right below, right beside the time that's running on 43, 35 seconds, that kind of thing. And you got to click down to get the attendees. But on the FHWA situation, I did reach out to ADOT, Virgil Coxon, who's the field coordinator for all of ADOT projects. They had reached out to their contacts in the Federal Highway, and they did not have a problem with it because what they thought they were getting rid of was the cost and monitoring that actually monuments for NSRS were being set. And they didn't have a problem with that because they're not actually doing that. They don't have a problem with it still stating that they want to be tied to NSRS, but they saw it as a reduction in a fee or a cost per monument that needed to be set on these projects that has not been done historically. So Tim and JB received that, I believe, and hopefully they're taking that into consideration.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Mike Given?
Yeah, we got a hold of our PennDOT, one of the chief surveys that's been active in the society here in Pennsylvania, and oddly enough, they were just having a meeting yesterday. Whenever I called him, all the chiefs of surveys from each district in the state were having an all-day meeting, and so I let him know about this, and they weren't aware of it. So we got that in front of. They put it on their agenda yesterday, and we got our letter ready to go. We're going to send it out today, I believe. We'll copy Tim on that when it goes to the DOT. So it was really good timing for us. So
Super.
appreciate the heads up there from you guys.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those things. I think from the time it hit to the end of the public comment period, I want to say is 21 days. So this thing has been moving fast. As soon as we found out, we've been mobilizing and trying to understand it and digest it, synthesize it, and provide the best guidance we can. So again, appreciate you all taking the time to look at those things when they come through and moving those on through. So okay, I think if there isn't any additional questions, comments, let me see if there's anything else I missed on that. JB did speak about this at the NGAC meeting. Right after we became aware, shortly after was the NGAC meeting in Washington, D.C. And so JB did attend that meeting and spoke on our behalf as well. So just to note that there. Okay, I don't see any additional hands up, so I think we'll go ahead and just checking everything. Oh, we've got Ed with a hand up. Let's get Ed quick before we move on in the agenda here. Ed?
Just real quick, your link brings you to the main page. It doesn't bring you to the rescinding page.
Let me try that again. Oh, okay. Yep, you're right. So that was the subpart D that they're looking at rescinding in its totality, that first one that's in the chat. The second is the overview page. Thanks, Ed, for bringing that up. Okay, let's move on into, well, let me see. Looks like we got another hand up. Oh, that's Ed. Were you done, Ed?
Done.
All right. Okay. Moving right along here to a related topic, but just update for the NGS and NSRS modernization front. We had several of us, Tim Birch, Dick Kleinman, myself, attended the quarterly NGS and I would say professional society kind of communications meeting. It's a cadence meeting that happens quarterly that we try to attend where they can share updates with us so we can get information to you all, etc. And Dick, you can chime in here if I'm missing anything. But really, the takeaways I had are I think they're somewhat stabilized for now. And they're in, I would say, all hands on deck posture, working with what they have left to continue pushing to get the modernized NSRS rolled out. And they did manage to get the beta products released. I believe it was about a week and a half ago. So those are out publicly available. If you haven't had a chance to check those out or pass them on to your teams or whoever would be relevant there, check that NGS website. The beta products have a number of those have rolled out. So even though I know the morale and the feelings at NGS are not the greatest right now, I would say there was some guarded excitement that they're still seeing some progress on this front. I know it's difficult for upper management. They're still working in a month-by-month budgetary situation, but they're doing the best they can with what they have. Very few contracts, I think, if I recall, are starting to move, but those are having to go, I believe, up to the secretary level for approval still. And so any of those contracts that they were working with, those are still moving pretty slowly. Dick, did you have anything you wanted to add to that update from the NGS front, and then we'll move into the documentation we've been working on?
Yeah, it might be worth repeating that Dave Doyle tried to, it'd be an interest of all you state directors that Dave Doyle is getting several requests to speak at state associations. And he kind of asked about like, well, he loves doing that, but I don't know, there's a compensation issue. And he kind of outright asked the deputy director, like, well, what's the chance of if there's no, he's getting these requests because there's no advisors left. So he asked, is there any way to formalize that? And the deputy director said, well, yes, it's very important, but unfortunately on the priority list of a bunch of other things going, they didn't foresee that. So yeah, you probably won't get a regional advisor to your state association, and know that Dave Doyle might not be compensated, and he's doing that out of his own pocket.
Yeah, thanks, Dick, for bringing that up. That's a good point. I believe they're down to one person who's technically who is an advisor, if I'm not mistaken, maybe two. Of course, they've been pulled into, I think, production activities by and large to around the modernized NSRS. So there is a hole, most definitely, and I think that's something that we need to be mindful of and paying attention to in our own states. Some of our states have geodetic coordinators already, maybe through your DOTs or through other geospatial agencies. Some don't. So we do have some areas out there that are going to be really probably kind of hurting as we move through this. And I know they're hopeful that at some point in the near future, perhaps the hiring freezes and what have you will ease and they can start adjusting, but we'll go from there. All right, Jim Craddock, you had your hand up there. I apologize. We weren't ignoring you. We were chatting
No,
through.
no, it's mine's minor. I just, when you get a chance, put the agenda back up, please, or if y'all could email that to us, that'd be nice.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Let me see if I can talk and chew gum at the same time here. Get that document back up again, very informal. But want to keep everybody sort of up to date on what we've got going. How's that? You see that? All right.
Yes,
Okay.
looks good, Linda.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so on to next topic around NSRS modernization. And I'm going to call on Dick Kleiman again for this, but just to give a little bit of background, a number of you have been asking, our organizations are really thinking about this. Where do we start? How do we help our organizations think about this transition and this change? And so we've had an effort going on here the last several weeks to start putting some documentation, some guidance documentation together. And what we've essentially started with is a draft set of documents that the NGS, I would say, is using as they are working with federal agencies internally. It's information that they've essentially assembled to be able to walk their own sister agencies through this transition in this process. And so they've graciously shared those with us. And what we're doing right now, and Dick Kleinman has been leading a lot of this effort, is to look at these documents and adapt them to our state agencies, our local government agencies, and then also for private practitioners in thinking about how this is going to impact all of our organizations moving forward. And so there's, I think it's 7 documents. So there's just a very basic PowerPoint presentation, template PowerPoint presentation that talks in pretty simple terms about what is the modernized NSRS, why are we updating it, what does it mean, et cetera. To kind of, it could be used at the executive level, to help inform those decision makers of what this is and what's coming. There's some self-evaluation documents for organizations to be able to step through, how do we prepare? Some metadata considerations, different things like that. I think, Dick, I'll turn it over to you since you've been kind of working that the most heavily and let you weigh in there from there.
Yeah, no, Linda did a great job of summarizing it. I guess, yeah, it started out, like she said, NGS helping other federal agencies. And so we're just changing the voice of the document, from as it's coming from NSPS and assisting state and local, county and such and regional, planning commissions and stuff like that. And yeah, it'd be great to have somebody else take another look at it, I guess, too. It's what I did, Linda, too, is part of that. You had that great resource, the story map out there, because I appended some of those questions. One of it, the most valuable was, I think, are you ready? And these are questions to ask yourself or ask your agency that'll prompt them to think about, where they need to adjust and prepare. And I took a number of those right up from our story map that I think I might have helped you with a year ago or something like that. But yeah, that'll be a resource to give out to people to help, because they're looking and I'm still surprised after talking about this 7 years in Wisconsin. It's like I still get people that are like, huh, what's this about? And I've told, I think when we first talked about this, it's like, yeah, private consulting firms should be out there, looking at this is an opportunity for all of us surveyors out here to help your clients, right? If your clients are state DOTs and counties and such, you need to be helping those agencies because they don't have the staff to do it themselves. And convince the people that are just trying to ignore it. It's what about the person like, hey, there's a lot of them that are my age are gonna like, hey, I'll be gone before this happens. So
Yeah,
no,
and
it's
so
a start.
Yep, it is. It's absolutely a start. It's a rough swing, but again, I think it's a place that NSPS can lead in the surveying profession. We know that NGS is, painfully short-staffed and resource challenged right now, especially losing our advisors. It's a way that hopefully we can help. I mean, obviously, we certainly don't have the resources within NSPS to walk people through these processes, but hopefully we can provide some guidance and documentation that will be a starting point, provide connections, networking, what have you, to help as we all move through and navigate. And we know this is a years-long effort as we continue through. So again, be on the lookout for this documentation. This is something that's been again, fairly recent. We've got committees working on it. Dick, in particular, has been leading this effort. If anyone's interested in reviewing, helping out, feel free to reach out and contact us. Otherwise, we'll have this in front of XCOM here shortly so that it can be reviewed there. And then probably start bringing this in a draft format as we have all of our resources with that disclaimer. This is a work in progress. This is going to be a process, but be able to start helping people as they're getting ready to maneuver. Again, the beta products are out, so all indications are that NGS is diligently working to get this modernization rolled out. So, okay, any questions there? If not, we'll continue on here. All right, thank you for that. Next, I want to introduce Seneca Holland, who is a co-chair of our education committee. Let's see if her co-chair is on here, Rich Benozzi. But at any rate, Seneca, if you guys could give us an update. Our education committee has been very busy. I'm so excited for the work that's going on in that committee. And so part of what we want to do at these town halls is give our committees an opportunity to give quick updates, because they are meeting in between our in-person meetings and they're getting some great work done, just to keep you all up to date of what work is going on if you aren't involved in those committees. And heck, maybe you'll get excited about what they're doing and jump on board and join those meetings, which you're welcome to do. So Seneca, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Linda, and thanks for the opportunity to provide an update, but also to get out of the room with the middle schoolers that we're providing a survey summer camp for this week. We have 30 very excited middle schoolers who are learning about surveying, but their exuberance is a little overwhelming sometimes, so it's a nice break. So over the past several months, we've made some steady progress across several initiatives. I want to briefly revisit our education committee charges and then talk about our current liaisons and subcommittee assignments. So our charges are to maintain liaisons with ABET, SAGES, CST, the Young Survey Network, and Workforce Development. We're also establishing and maintaining endorsement criteria, to recommend professional development and continuing education activities for NSPS approval, launching a speakers academy to train the next generation of presenters for affiliate conferences and public events, modernizing the surveying body of knowledge and definitions, and supporting a path for re-engagement of NSPS with the Surveying and Land Information Science, or SALIS journal. So our current liaisons and subcommittee assignments, we have an ABET liaison, and that's Becky Popick. We just filled our SAGES liaison, and that's Marley Walton, and she's the new SAGES president. Cam Lowe is serving as our interim YSN liaison, and he's actively working to find us a full-time liaison. Trent Keenan continues to lead workforce development and serve as our liaison. And Norm Ellerbach and Tricia Lund are supporting in that CST role. We're also working to add a liaison with NCEES because we think that's important as well. So Linda and Rich are leading the survey body of knowledge update. We're working on revising the framework, and Linda can talk, more about this and those efforts, and maybe our time frame for that.
Sure, I don't have a lot to provide in the line of updates because we are just starting to get this effort kind of off the ground. It was an area that we identified at our spring meeting in the education committee meeting as being, I would say, up there in critical importance. The body of knowledge is quite dated. I believe the last published date on it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yep, 2011, 2012. And so it's there are a lot of groups, organizations, bodies looking, I think, for the guidance that document provides, just because we've had so much change in the last 15 years, 14 years in our in our profession and how we work, and of course that impacts how we educate and how we train the next generation of surveyors. And so that's an area that's was definitely on my goal list as president, to see if we couldn't get that update up and running. So I'll definitely be heavily involved in working through that process with the education committee. So more to come on that. We have a subcommittee that meets regularly outside of our education committee meeting, just to focus purely on the body of knowledge, and we're getting that subcommittee built out. I anticipate it will be a balance of academia and industry, and I foresee that we will probably have a couple of workshop style input opportunities, same for this board of directors group, to get input on what are you seeing, what are you needing in the industry, and the same for those in the academic side as well, so that we can put a meaningful body of knowledge update out. And it's a big lift. This will be probably, a couple of years in the making, I would suspect. But stay tuned as those plans become more solidified. We'll share those updates along. So back to you, Seneca.
Great. So Gary Kent is leading the curriculum charge. So he's about halfway through production with 9 planned videos. So these are 40 to 60 minutes each. And there's an initial online module that will be followed by an in-person 2-day seminar. I think the goal is to have substantial content ready by the fall meeting. I'm leading the revision of the survey definitions book, and this is updating and consolidating terminology from academia, industry, regulatory sources, but also this work will be complemented by the body of knowledge and our curriculum kind of modernization efforts that are taking place in academia. And so we're really looking at this geometric spectrum and where we need to borrow terms from, and working with other groups to inform this process. So together with John Roeder, we're building a standardized process and a decision tree for evaluating CEU submissions. So as part of this work, Trimble has submitted its abstracts for Trimble Dimensions to NSPS. We've gone through and reviewed those sessions initially for endorsement, and the Trimble team is sending us their documents by the 27th, and we'll provide feedback shortly thereafter. What we want to do is work on a final checklist that we will post to the NSPS site for presenters that'll allow them to align their abstracts or check their abstracts against the body of knowledge as it is now, the body of knowledge as it will be updated, and streamline this review process going forward. We're also continuing discussions between NSPS and AAGS leadership regarding the future of the SALIS journal. Our goal is to reestablish SALIS as our national academic journal and publishing platform, and bring it back up from 2 issues a year back up to 4. So we're exploring a model that would improve accessibility and participation, and we're working with AAGS to do so. So they've approached their board about this. While no formal motions were made in their last meeting, which I think took place on the 11th, everybody is amenable to this happening, and so we're still in the planning phase. And finally, we've been participating with workforce development and working with Christian. I'm not even going to try to I butcher his last name every single time I say it, at NCEES. He's their marketing and outreach strategist, and we're developing educational materials for outreach, classroom engagement, and career exploration in English and also in Spanish. So that's the 20,000-foot view, kind of what the education committee is doing, but I'm happy to answer any questions or provide follow-up materials.
Thanks, Seneca. Anybody have questions on what's happening in the education committee? Huge kudos to this group. They've really stepped up since the spring meeting, gotten things organized, and we have some great work underway. I'm really excited to see see where we're at in the fall. I think I know there's a cadence of meetings happening across the group, and so I don't see any hands raised currently.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I'll post my email address, or Linda, you can post my email if anybody has follow-up questions, and I'm going to get back to my campers. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So I'm going to just move now into just a few housekeeping items here. Reminder, the model law comments are due to the office by July 1st. We've had a few of those come in, so if you have those yet to come in, just have forgotten to send them, please get those into the office by July 1st. And we are finalizing the meeting agenda for our fall meetings in Minneapolis. We're moving to a 2-day format, and part of that is because we're having these town halls regularly. We're providing committee updates. We have a lot more committee activity going on between our in-person meetings, and so we're trying to looking at a slightly different approach to streamline the meetings a bit and try to make those as efficient as we possibly can. So bear with us as we work through maybe a slightly different format. And of course, feedback's always welcome, but we will have a finalized agenda here in the next few weeks coming to you all, at least by the next town hall. Also, planning is underway for spring and fall 2026 meetings already. We have had a lot of activity there. Spring meetings, of course, are always packed and a lot going on, and so we're working through the planning stages of venues and high-level scheduling, events, those types of things. And then same for 2026, which we've identified as will be happening in my home state of South Dakota. So again, stay tuned for more to come there. I'll pause right there. Is there any questions, comments? I'll just open it up now for some discussion before we close out. Dick, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check it out, but the new AAGS certification, geodetic surveyor or something, is there a 30-second blob you know about that? I
Yeah,
watching
I
it
can.
and hoping, but want to know more.
Yeah, I can share what I know, and I'm certainly not all knowing in this category at all. But I can connect anybody who's interested in this with those who are working on it. AAGS is working on a geodetic surveying certification. That's been underway for some time now. I know they are working through the test questions, the knowledge, those types of things. Again, it kind of ties back into our body of knowledge conversation to a certain extent. But this is something that they've been working hard for some time to get developed. I think they're getting close to having a beta version of that coming out. So again, I don't have a huge amount of information more than that to share, but I can connect anybody who's interested in learning more with those who are working on it at AAGS. Brad, I see you have your hand up.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Excellent, excellent. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm new to the executive, Brad Holloman from Louisiana, taking Derek Wheat's spot as he rolled off and is helping us in our Louisiana specific legislative committee. Just wanted to say hello, look forward to the fall meeting. I'll be in attendance and look forward to meeting everyone.
Well, welcome, Brad, and thank you for introducing yourself to us. We'll look forward to meeting you in person.
Yes.
All right, Ed, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just to bolster what you were saying about the geodetic certification, I was just talking with Dan Martin, and I've been attending their meetings. So they are still working on it. They're working on the questions, and it's something that's going to happen moving forward. And the other thing on the Sailors magazine, it would be a good thing for NSPS to see if they could jump on this so we could still have a vetted professional publication attached to our profession. So I would like to see NSPS, work out whatever we can with AAGS on the sailors front and see what we can get going on getting that up again and running.
Thanks for the feedback, Ed, and I'm hopeful that we'll have something more solidified, or at least a concept that we can bring forward at the fall meetings and present to you all. That's our hope. But we are, like as Seneca said, the education committee is meeting. They have a group that's working with AAGS to kind of get some high level structure, ideas, thoughts put into place that we can bring to our group, and they can bring to theirs. So yeah, we can continue on that front. Thank you for the feedback. Any other questions, discussion items? Well, while you're thinking about that, I hate to close out on an absolutely sad note, but I did want to just mention, please have past President Amanda Allred and her family in your prayers right now. For those of you who maybe don't know, tragically, she lost her son, Johnny, who many of you met at our surveying meetings this past Father's Day. So please think of her, pray for her and her family. NSPS leadership is working through ways that we can help memorialize and be of support there. So as I said, breaks my heart to end a meeting on that note, but please do have those thoughts and prayers going out to her. Any other discussion, conversation? Well, Dick.
You know me, I was good for something. Our executive director did reach out to me, I guess. I would encourage you all to encourage your executive directors to join in on that executive director town hall. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. They want to come if there's content, but if there won't be content unless people join in. So encourage them to go.
Yes, thank you, Dick, for bringing that up. It is. I'm excited to provide this. I think it's a good opportunity, again, just to get some synergy and better communication across our groups. Sean, you have your hand up?
Yeah, if our executive director didn't get that email, who should we reach out to make sure that they have the right one?
Trish can help you with that in the office. So yes, anyone else who knows that their executive directors, I know they're watching, trying to match up, who's opened or viewed, or I think on that one they're able to do that. So I know there's work being done to try to make sure everybody's been notified on that. But if you know yours hasn't, please reach out to Trish. Okay, any other last comments, questions, discussion? Again, I can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate you all attending these. I know the last thing we all need is another meeting in our day, but I hope these are valuable to you and the time you're taking to join in. I know it's helpful for us to hear from you as well. So with that, I'm going to give one last shot if there's anything up for discussion. If not, I'll give everybody 12 minutes of your day back. Anything else? Going once? Going twice? All right, we'll close it down. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Linda.
Bye.